All right. All right. Yeah. So we're recording now. So yeah, let me start from what is a user story. Now, a user story is the description of a feature written from the perspective of the end user, not from the perspective of the compliance team and what they think the company policy is, not from the perspective of what the engineering manager think is feasible, or not from the perspective of what the designer think will be aesthetically pleasing or lovely. It is from the perspective of your users. So mm, this is where so many skills um so many skills needed in a PM comes into play, especially empathy. This is where you're able to empathize with your users. So you've talked about your idea, talk about idea generation and how everything, you know, the kind of you've developed the ideas of your product or feature, and you know who is this problem is solving. You know who this what this product is solving, like the problem is solving and who is for. Now, since you already know the people that this product is solving the problem for, now you have to put yourself in their shoes and write the user story of what they would need. Now that's just basically what a user story is all about. So, and how is this format? How is it written? It's written simply. So one of the user stories, as a type of user, I want to, then the action and need, so I can, then the reward or goal. So as a user of XYZ app, I want to enter my email address and password so I can log into my account. It's really that simple. Like it's just a simple format. It looks very, very simple. Like again, so it can be very difficult to write. But in as much as you're packing it, let it be as simple as possible. And that's where the problem really comes to say, which might be thinking of a lot of things, but how can you simplify it to fit into this and small thing? Well, a lot of things might be going through your head, say they should do this, but you have to trim it down to a simple user story. Just make it as simple as a writer. I want to log into my account so I can write my about my I can write my stories or any other thing that comes into your mind. So just think about it. So it's putting yourself in the minds of your user and then writing a simple line that can that will help your developers build something that will make your users arrive at their goal. So that is just simply what a user story is. Now, I was going to say the beauty of the format is that it forces the writer to be concise enough while still communicating clearly, so much like the character limit on Twitter. So he made this comparison, and I find it quite interesting. So you're in Twitter. Twitter is not like Instagram or Facebook where you can, or even LinkedIn. All over your LinkedIn where you can type and type. Like it's almost like if it's almost like there is no limit on what you can write. So you can just write as much as you want. But Twitter, at the time you come to and say, okay, this is too much. This is not what you want here. Keep it as short as possible. So that's what the user story is trying to make you do. It doesn't want you to keep writing stories that if anybody pick it up, they'll be like, what exactly are we building here? The people look at it, the head will just be scattering and they'll just be confused. So this user story, it just helps to you make sure that it is concise and that your developers will not have any issue understanding what's built, so that it can building anything can just be as seamless as possible for them. So that's just why this user story is very, very important. So parts of the user story, say that is the description, acceptance criteria, and business rule. I think that is for me. I think we have the epics in writing user story, but we'll talk about that on top. But let's go ahead. So description. This is where you describe the feature from the perspective of the end user. This is where you write the format as discussed earlier, clear and concise. That is just the description. That is just what the description is talking about, just the user story. Now, acceptance criteria. Normally, let me just read what is there. Acceptance criteria. This is a condition or set of conditions that must be met before a feature or functionality could be considered done. This is the definition of done for a feature or functionality. So, when you said that the user has to do something to arrive at the goal. Now, what is that thing that has to be done for it, that has to be available for it to for them to get to their goal. So okay, let me just say, so acceptance criteria are how you tell that your user's requirement has been met. So if you say that as a user I want to sign into XYZ app, so I want to type in my username so I can sign into an XYZ app, and then your developer did not put this thing, a bar for someone to write their username, you see that that goal is not going to be achieved. So acceptance criteria helps you lay out a ground rule that for this thing to happen, this requirement has to be met. This thing has to be there. So I cannot just log into any app anyhow without a space for me to write my username. Um, I without a space for me to put in my username there. So a bar or something or whatever for me to put my username must be there before I can sign into an app. That's just what basically an acceptance criteria helps you to achieve. For example, how you do is for many people many people how they do this is that they put it into a kind of box. Like so in the box they divide or a table, they divide it into two. Or so maybe take it to trace, like I was explaining earlier, epics. So epics is like a larger user story or a larger action that the user has to take. And then they are not broken down into Epic is kind of is a larger user story. It's your idea of what the user should do. The user stories make it much more meaningful. Makes it like those tiny stuff that okay, this is part of this thing that should be done. This is part of this thing that should be done. The acceptance criteria is now that definition of done. That's that requirement that has to be met for you to say that my user story has been achieved, it has been built, is correct. So well, normally, like I was saying, so normally to be in a table format, yeah, you write your user story one side, write your acceptance criteria right back one side. So you now be like under the user story segment, you writing okay, you write your user story as a user, I want to do this, I want to do this so that this will happen. Then the acceptance criteria, you now be like being a user, it's place for me to put in my username should pop up so that I can be able to like type in my username and log into the account. It's just simple. So there's that story in one box, your acceptance criteria beside it, and it goes to the next line, your user story there, the acceptance criteria there. So this is just how you develop your acceptance criteria. Your acceptance criteria is derived from the user story. You cannot, it's not derived from thin air or from a void. So before you establish an acceptance criteria, the user story must have been written. Then you now look at the user story and then bring out what has to be done. What has to be done, the requirement that has to be met is your acceptance criteria. So let's move on. So from this acceptance criteria, you can easily tell if the developer has done a good job or not. Like I say, so if the developer did not put the place for a user to type in their username, that means it is not done. He has not done a good job. He might have built a good code or done everything, but or even put login bot to save, but he did not put a space for them to type their username. So that user story, that ticket has not been achieved. So now acceptance criteria helps the developer know what needs to be done. It helps the quality assurance tester establish basic testing conditions, and it helps you as a product manager easily and quickly establish that the user's needs have been met or not. So, like I said earlier, once acceptance criteria has been written, your developer will look at it and say, okay, I have to do this thing. I mean, if the developer does not, although it happens sometimes, but most times, once the developer look at the acceptance criteria, he just knows what he needs to do. He has read his aspect and look at the acceptance criteria, he already knows what he needs to do. So maybe it's kind of confusing or he thinks otherwise. Then he will not come and meet and say, see this thing, or I think this thing is not supposed to be right here. So you guys now go through it and then maybe look for a way to sort out the issue. But once the developer looks at your acceptance criteria, they already pretty much know what they need to do. And then the quality assurance tester, once the quality assurance tester are the people that test the product. So before you build the product, you don't want to push it out for users to start using it like that. What if there are bugs in the feature in the app or your product, or what if there's some virus or anything that can crash your users this thing, or even get access to that or compromise your users device. So you want to make sure that you have a quality assurance tester to test it and make sure that um, some requirement has been met. The requirement has been met, and that this thing has been done and this thing has been done. That and so you don't just ship codes or ship products that on vibes. You just make sure that the quality assurance tester make sure that your product is of good standard. Even if as an MVP self, I know it's not the most glamorous product or the most glamorous version of the product you want, but your standard criteria helps the quality assurance to tell you that testing based on what you've written down. So the quality assurance tester does not start over testing and they start looking for defaults that are not there. So that so your ancestral stories just lays down the groundwork and tell the quality assurance tester, I know you might have a way of testing this and blah blah blah, but this is what you really need to test here. So that's why your success criteria is very important. And then you as a product manager, I mean, sometimes it takes a while for a product to be built. So anytime that your developers bring a finished feature or a product to you, you just need to go back to your acceptance criteria and look at, okay, did he meet the need? You now look at from his perspective and say, okay, he did this, all right, good. Okay, he did not do this, why? Upon I wrote down that this thing should be done, but he didn't do this. You bring it to the attention of the developer and say, please, this thing should be done this way or something like that. So that's why your acceptance criteria is very, very, very important. And then we have business rule. Now, this is very many times it's very, very important, but so many times she just takes the back seat, which sometimes is not good. But it's very important. That's why as a product manager, you sit at the intersection of your users, tech, and the business. So you make sure that your product that it is satisfies like a business rule, a rule or a condition or laid down terms and conditions that your business already has, so that you don't build something that goes astray from what your they call business of and the core business of your company is. So yeah, let's just read it out. So this is a set of policies or regulations typically imposed by the company or regulators, yeah, as a means to shape behaviors on a broader level. Know that business rule does not necessarily apply to every user story. Like you see, so I say like sometimes you just take it back to sometimes it's not really people don't pay attention to it, but you don't want to build something and overlook some things. So you have to critically look at issues to make sure that the business rule might be just one side, so that when the feature is built, you can go back to your business rule and say, this feature we built, did it violate this business rule or this regulators rule? The regulator and regulator policies and their rules and regulations, they just put it under business rules, under business rule. So you look at the feature. Did they provide a space for this thing to happen here? You know how the Central Bank of Nigeria said that it's only people that have BVN that can create an account here. This feature now we built. Is there a place? Of course, you can normally create accounts with just your name and your details, but without a need for BVN. But Central Bank of Nigeria said that people must create a BVN, must put their this thing BVN for you to open any account. So you now start looking at the feature that was built. And this feature is good, it's fine, but hey, we need a business rule was regarded here. Like CBN said that you need a BVN for anybody to open accounts in this bank. So you now go back and say, okay, please let us add it there. let us build a feature. You now start going back and build a feature and add it to make sure that you and your company does not fall into trouble. Most time, this kind of stuff that are taken care of by compliance department or your legal department. But as a product manager, you need to also know the rules and regulations that govern your products and your industry that you're operating. So that's what the business rule aims to achieve. So you go ahead of a business rule with placing age restrictions on betting websites to prevent underage gambling. Yeah, like I said earlier, this is a rule that has to be kept. So now let's give an example of a user story that covers different parts of a user story. As a user, I should be able to enter my name and age so I can sign up on ABC sports betting platform. Now let's break it down. I think we broke it down here. In the description, the story is written from the perspective of the user who wants to sign up on the platform of ABC Sports Betting. It clearly shows what the user needs to enter to sign up. Like we've already gone through it. The description that which is part of the user story, which is generally basically the everything the user story is talking about. So again, it's from the eyes of the user, from the feelings of the user, not from any other person here. Then acceptance criteria, users must enter their first and last name. Users must enter their date of birth in the format date, month, year. So this is acceptance criteria. So that your developer does not go and build something else. So for users to enter their their first and last name, a space has to be open, like it has to be created for them to be able to input their name. And then also in this, you see users must enter their date of birth in the format. It says date, month, year. So this is actually make sure that maybe your developers make sure that they build the product that the users have to enter their date of birth like this, not maybe put it like 20th of January, put it in words, or maybe only month and year or month and day. So as that criteria helps you to tell the developers that see it has to be date to slash month year. So this is how you're going to build it, not any other way. So that's what this acceptance criteria aims to achieve. And then your business rule, only users who are 18 years and above should be allowed to sign up. And so users who are below the age of 18 should be shown the following message. Sorry, you are not eligible to sign up until you are 18 years of age or older. And this is an acceptance criteria here. So if a user like is not permitted to sign up, let a message pop up. Like if you're signing up to apps, you should be able to see some message that shows you like a warning or a a signal that said wrong this thing, input correct this thing. It does not come out of the blue. This was a requirement written down by the product manager and said this has to be met. If the user does not input this thing well, show them this message. Many apps and many websites that you're going to view, and there are different ways of how they inform you that what you're doing is not what you're supposed to do. So it is the product manager that writes that acceptance criteria, and then the developers now build it and say, okay, it will show you this thing. So that's just it. So as product manager, you need to be able to know how to write acceptance criteria so the developers can know what to build, and the users can also follow that steps that they need to follow. So they don't just do something crazy and do something that they shouldn't be doing, or if they make mistake, maybe they make a mistake. So your acceptance criteria helps you to get them back in order and be like, oh, sorry, this is a mistake. I didn't do what I was supposed to do here. Then they'll go back and do exactly what they're supposed to do. Now, so yeah, invest. We hear about invest a lot of time. So especially when it comes to that stories or product manager, they'll be like, where does invest come into play as a product manager? They'll be like, is it in user journey, in your user flow, or whatever? But the correct answer is in your user story. That's where you use the invest framework. And what is the invest framework? So you say, yeah, that's always a good advice to take, but I mean, I think he was trying to crack a joke here. But in this case, invest means something different. It's an acronym that is very helpful when writing user stories. Now, what is the acronym? What's the full meaning of the acronym? So, invest, I is independent, N is negotiable, V is valuable, E is estimable, S size appropriate, and C testable. So it's not enough to just write user stories based on your user, on the through the eyes of the user, or how the user should behave, or a requirement that has to be met. It has that some other ground work that your user story has to follow, and some things that has to happen. Just like MVP has to be functional for it to be an MVP and for users to be able to use it. The user story has to meet some of these criteria. And the user it goes on to say a good user story must be independent. It should be complete in itself. Let it not be floating around. Let it make a let it as a one line or a two line. Let it just make sense. Let you not need any other thing to be able to although they're intertwined, but let you not need any other thing that will be like um you have to make it relevant. Let it be independent on its own. Make sure that that user story right. Make sure that as it's on its own like that, it is relevant. So it has to be independent on its own. It doesn't need to attach to another user story, but they are intertwined because the user has to follow one to go into another one to go into another one. But it should be able to stand alone. So now negotiable, it should be negotiable as you learn more about the user. It is not cast in stone. And this is exactly how everything you're building is. So as a user, as like I say, as a product manager, you have to always iterate. So if it's a user story and you think that your users, again, maybe you monitor your product and you see that a part of the product is having an issue, you're training customers from from somewhere in your product. It's important that you go back and see what the problem is for, and then check the user story and be like, okay, maybe we over did something here. I think we should have made this simple, but we now did this too much, and our users are having difficulty accepting that. So you negotiate with like I said, that's what has negotiable. So you now go back and then evaluate it, and then be like, okay, let's adjust it here, let's do this thing here to make it more seamless for our users. Then be valuable. It must provide value to the user. I know it's like I say, for every feature you build, you have to build you have to write a user story and or you build a user story. And this helps you to make sure that you're building what is important. Not because you have a fancy idea, I think it's nice. You now start writing user stories. And you have to like review your user story and make sure that once you finish writing the user story, go back and review it and make sure that this thing is valuable, that you're not just writing it for fun. When I see that earlier, that writing user stories can be very tough. So you have to, so you, as project manager, you go into retrospection and look at your user story and ask yourself, this user story, is it valuable to my user? Is it necessary? Or is it just because I like it? So let me not build it for them. So it is not building value to your users. So even if you like it for users, even if you like it, please just cancel it out from your documents. Then estimable, easily quantifiable in terms of time or effort required. So don't gonna be the user story that will be shaking your developer side, that your developers cannot even understand how long it should take them to build it. It should be confusing. It will be like they'll say user story and be like, ha, can I be able to do this thing? Is it like they don't do this one before? Is it like will I be able to do within these 2 weeks, within two, because you have a sprint where you time block what to build at a particular point. So it has to be estimable, easily quantifiable in terms of time and effort required. So your users have to be your developers have to be able to tell you, okay, this is the amount of time that this user story can be, this feature can be built, which is this user story has to be built, or the feature user story. Most of these things are just what they used to put there. And the user story should be able to help your developers tell you the efforts. Okay, this means I have to work with this person and this person. This means I have to work like 10 times as much as I did the previous user story or the previous sprint. So it helps you um, it helps you understand the point of your developers so that you be like, okay, um, I know this user story might take my developer 2 days to create, but this other one would take 3 days or 4 days. So you have to estimate your user story. It has to be estimated and quantified. Then size appropriate. Must not be too big to estimate or too small that is insignificant. So I still think that it's almost the same thing. So let it not be too big that the developers are running helter skelter and they don't know what to build, or that it's too small that is insignificant or invaluable. So like then again, valuable, size appropriate, like same thing. So it should not be too small that it loses value. So it should just be just size appropriate. It should just make sense. That 1 or 2 lines, independent, and just make sure that you're making sense with that user story. And they say it must be testable. You don't try to user story that after building the feature, they won't know how to test it. So it has to be, although most times you might not be able to know how it can be tested. So that's why you need your QE guys so that they're able to look at your user story and be like, okay, yes, I know what we're testing for here, and I know what is required for me to do here. So invest helps you keep your user stories in check. So it must be testable. Your QA guy has to test it and has to make sure that it is um, ready for launch or for shipping. So that's just basically what the invest framework helps you to achieve. So invest again has to be independent, negotiable, valuable, estimable, set appropriate, and testable. And yeah, that's it for this line. Like I told you, it's written by simply. Oh, was I mistaken? I thought it was SY. So yeah, it's SI. So you can see simply as you. So he's the one that wrote this line on writing effective user stories. So I hope that was really helpful. I don't know if any of you, if you want me to share this slide with you guys, I can just still have to talk to the organizers to know how that will be able for me to do if you guys want it. Oh yeah, okay, let's do. All right, no problem. I will share. I will share it. I'll share it with you guys. So yeah, that's it. So I don't know, you guys. I don't think if you guys wait. Let me check if we can do some questions, some product management questions answered, and no, um, or maybe we should just end it here and then. Well, first of all, let me take questions and answers first of all, just from you guys. So yeah, that is it on writing effective user stories. Now, I hope that was helpful to you guys, and this is where I open the floor for questions or thoughts. So if you have any questions, if you have anything to say, please now just raise up your hand and I'll call on you and ask your question. So yeah, questions. Anyone? Okay, Precious, go ahead.
Thank you so much for the class. I'm getting to understand things better. So thank you so much. I wanted to ask for the invest for those terms. I wanted to ask if it's possible to give us like an example of actual user stories where we can
Actual,
maybe see those qualities in them.
actual user stories.
Yes.
Um, really, let me check. my document if I have any user story that I've written down somewhere. Maybe take my laptop. No, I'll get back to you on that. I'll look for a user story that was written and I'll make sure that you see an actual user story. And user story is not like it's rocket science. It's not really that. It's not really out of the ordinary. Just a simple sentence again. But I get where you're coming from. So I'll make sure I look around and pick up his story and share it with you. Okay,
Thank you.
peace. You're welcome. Please go ahead.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, good evening. I can.
Okay, I just want to confirm the what you mean by the acceptance criteria. So, is it like okay, after the team has created the products and that they have put it out and users are already interacting with the product and using it, is it like if the actions are carried out by the users the way they were planned by the product team, maybe for them to impute their username upon entry, something like that. Does that mean that that is when we can say the acceptance criteria has been met?
I get where you're coming from, but acceptance criteria is not to guide your users per se, is to guide your developers on what to build. So acceptance criteria here, once you've written your user story, but yes, your user interacting with your product helps you confirm that yes, your this thing has been met. But you don't need your user to confirm that because the acceptance criteria is able to help you confirm that, and then your QA tester, like during the process of developing, the acceptance criteria helps you to confirm that this thing has been done. So once you write a user story, the acceptance criteria just helps you develop a framework to know that your users will definitely do this, like will need this feature or this thing to be done properly. This has to be met so that users can do. You know if you understand what I'm saying. So you don't necessarily need your users to use a feature and be like, yes, my stack criteria has been no. It guides your developers or your QA testers and any other person involved in the development of a project. Is make sure that they do that thing to ensure that your users they do that. It makes sure that they do that thing so that your users can confirm it or something like that. Let me just put it that way. So it's not necessarily for the user, it's just for your development team to make sure that they don't build anything and just push out. It makes sure that they build that thing, that requirement that has to be met so that your users can be able to use it and be like, okay, yes, I'm using my product. But it's not necessarily for the user, but rather it guides the development team. I don't know if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, to an extent. Thank you.
Sorry, sorry, so please, don't worry. If it's not very clear, yeah, you can always reach out to me. Maybe I'll most likely expansion better when I'm out of here. Sorry for me, please.
Hi, good evening, and thank you so much for the class. So, my question is on user stories. So, I want to understand, is it that if you are trying to build a product, it's going to be like just one user story per like the entire product, or in your user story, you can have like 4 lines, or I'm still trying to visualize. I understand the concepts, but I just want to know if it's one user story per product or how does it work?
No, okay, yeah. No, it's not one user story per product. No, for a product, you have different features and I want to build. So that cannot be so the user story is not one or two. It is your user story is what you want to build in the product. So you're building Facebook, and your users have to sign into the app, have to write messages, have to like posts, have to comment on posts. So for the thing, for liking of posts, you have a user story for it. For commenting, you have a user story for it. For typing on Facebook, you have a user story for chatting. You have a user story for it. So and now it's not like it has to be one user story for liking. You can develop like two users to say as a user, as a Facebook user, I want to be able to like a post so that it shows that I agree with the person. Or as a user, I want to be able to like a post and it is shown, and I want to be able to like a post so that other people sees that I like this post. So you see, you can develop user stories for just that feature, just for that like feature. So user story is just it's just it's just a sentence of things that you want to build for a product. So it's not just a one try to user story and for a product. It's not like that. So it's just the things you tend to build for. It's like again features and functionalities. It helps you write effective user stories. So you have to have a feature list and then able to use it to develop user stories for your products. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, thank you so much. It's all coming together now. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so welcome. So Ige, please.
Good evening. Can you hear
Ige,
me?
yes, I can. Good evening.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Thank you for the class. So I just wanted to put some, just to add some things, not really a question now. So
Okay.
currently I'm a PM, so at least to an extent I know these things that you are saying. So just to clarify some of the questions my people have. So for users, so what I do currently, my place of work is there's something we call Epic. So Epic is like the how do I put it now? Epic is like the chunk of features. So let me use for example, you want to build a lending app. So for almost every product except website, there will be onboarding. Your user will have to create an account. So for onboarding, like creating an account is an Epic. So under onboarding, there will be different user stories. So let's take onboarding for an example. So your user will have to create an account. So to create an account, your user will have to use email, to use password, or do one thing or the other, or you put in their phone number. So those can be like those actionable things can be your user story. So for example, as a user, I want to be able to impute my email, my correct email address so that I can create an account. So the criteria will now be the criteria can be okay. So for user to be able to create an account, to be able to, for this user story to be able to be accepted, that means user should input a correct email account. As simple as that. Or
Yes.
it might be for password. Okay, as a user, I should be able to input different characters of password with 8 letters or whatever, whichever rule you want to put. And then this acceptance criteria will have to be, okay, for the password, it has to be 15 character long, it has to have special character, you have to put number. It just depends on what exactly you want as a PM in your product or as in your future. So those are the things I just want to add. Thank you.
Yes, exactly. Like I mentioned earlier about Epic. So Epic has confirmed it. Like so many people, like I said, so many people start with Epics and they break it down to user stories and then acceptance criteria. But so many times people just write user stories and then acceptance criteria. So thank you so much for explaining. I like when fellow students explain things to their fellow students. I think it makes things much more clearer than for us to just from people like students like us to just talk and talk and talk and maybe people are just lost the translation. But thank you so much again. Gifts, please.
Good evening.
Good
Can you hear
evening.
me? Yeah, so my question is actually I understand what you've explained, but I'm trying to like get a pictorial view of what each user story would look like. I don't know if you can give us like a drafted example of what a user story looks like an example of a user story, like a draft or something. I don't know if you get what I'm saying though. But it will help us understand better, I think. So I don't know if it's possible to get that from you.
Yeah, I get to I think that's what Precious or who was that asked for. So I'll definitely check. I'll definitely check my documents and look for user stories that I can share. Oh gosh, for these documents. Okay, I think I've seen one. Let this thing load. So, all right, I'm coming. Okay, can you see the user stories now? Can you see this? Hello guys, can you see my
Yes, we
Yes,
screen?
can see it.
yes, we
We
can
can
see
see
Yes,
you.
I
you.
can see your screen.
Okay, okay. Now, 99 apartments is a site where users can go and look, just like Airbnb. It's just an example of Airbnb where users can go and look for houses for short-let rentals, or where people that want to maybe give out their homes for rentals or put up their homes for short-let, where they can go to. Now, so this is an example of a user story. Now, from the perspective of the proposed users of the site. Now, this one is as a guest, I want to browse listings so that I can discover unique spaces that aren't local, that aren't hotel rooms. So this is just a surprise our story. So they want a site where they can this is a example of a very good user story. So they want a website where they can go and look for rooms or rooms that they can stay in for a time, but they don't want it to be hotel. They know that there are hotels, but they don't want hotels. They want a home. They want a home where they can just go to and then relax or some of that stuff. So this is what this user story aims to achieve. So if you're building a product now, so um you have to like if for example as this user story now, as another criteria will be like um there should be a search bar where a user can input the kind of apartment they want, and it has to list different kinds of apartments that are available on our site. That can be a search criteria here. Now, the second one say as a user, I want to leave a written review so I can describe my experience in my own words. Now, example, okay, this is from the perspective of the user. That's why you can use that a guest, can use the user, can use customer, as long as it all makes sense. I understand that is from your customer's perspective at the same thing. So now, second criteria will be like a a a, a, a place for a like a page where with 5 stars or something, or where users can put in 5 stars and write reviews has to be available for users. So that can be like an acceptance criteria for this particular user space. Then this one says, as a guest, I want to review the cleanliness of the space so that I feel assured the host to make sure the space is clean. Now, this is example. But again, when we're talking about user stories, and we talked about invest and all of that stuff. Now, is this user story, does it even make sense? And I'm reviewing this user story now. How would they be able to review the cleanliness of the space? Does they have to do that? Can they review it from the site, or do they have to go to the house to review it? So now, if you're building a product where users don't have to go to the site to view the product before viewing a house, before view a listing before paying for the listing, how would they confirm that is clean? So maybe you can think about it. I don't start cracking my brain. I can just click on something that will help the user achieve this aim. But if it's not possible, then you have to remove it. There is no way that they can confirm if it's clean on like at home. I said maybe you want to now create a kind of a webcam. I don't. It doesn't even. I don't know how possible it to be, but you get it. So if it's not going to be possible, you just cancel it. Say no. It cannot be. It cannot be testable. It's not testable, or it's not estimable. Like that kind of stuff. It might be valuable, but it cannot be tested. So you remove the. Again, that's how we talk about it. So you just remove it. Then, as a guest, I want to send a request for available nights so I can pay other the place to see. So when they view the listings, this requirement has to be like, oh yes, or maybe they can have a video call with the whole course. Impressive. You see, so this I see now. So maybe I think criteria for that will not be there should be a video icon where a user has to initiate a video call with the host of the apartment. So that this kind of stuff. So you get the vibes of what this is about. So that's just basically what this has to do. Now this is just one product, like no apartment, but you see the amount of user stories here. So user stories are like it's a lot. Yeah. So So now this is just user stories that are there, that are here. So it has not necessarily been vetted. It has not, we have not gone through them. As a product manager, it's easy to write user story, it can be difficult. And so as I was saying earlier, you have to, you as a product manager, you have to review your user stories and use the invest framework. Is it independent? Is it negotiable? Is it valuable? Is it estimable? Is it size appropriate? Is it testable? So once you confirm all these things that yes, your user stories like checks these boxes, then that's okay. But I think I've achieved my then you now continue. That's it. So I hope that makes sense. Who has that question? I hope that clears your doubt or anything. It was gifts, right? Yeah, gifts. Yeah.
Well, can I ask one more question? Sorry.
Oh,
Um,
no.
do you yeah, are they like opinions from customers themselves, or something that we as the product leaders think of
Hmm.
uh, our customers?
Yes, again, it's basically, sorry, I didn't get this anything. Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. I thought you mentioned something else, but that's fine. Again, if again, if your proposed customers know you're bidding for it, are already telling you something, it's good. It helps you develop user stories. Most times, many times, you don't know customers that you can get user stories from, so you need to have to develop it. But if you have customers that can tell you this is what I want to do, it can help you develop user stories. So customers might say a lot of things. They will say things, but it's you to now break them down into simple bits that make sense, which are user stories, so that your developers can know what to build and build it accurately. So yes, the users can tell you things that they want, you empathize with them too, and then make sense of it all in a single line or two. So that's just basically what the user story aims to achieve. Did that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you very much.
No, you're welcome. You're welcome. So, okay, Ngozi. All right.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, sir. Thank you so much for the presentation. I want to ask if there's a particular pattern of writing the user story, like empathy, that you write things on it, ideate, all those things. Are there supposed to be a specific pattern of writing it?
I don't quite understand the question. I don't quite get it. Can you repeat yourself again or rephrase so I can understand better?
Okay, what I mean is there a certain pattern of
Mm,
writing a user story? Is there a
yes,
particular pattern?
yes. This pattern, like see, as a user, I want to be able to do this so that this can happen, or just for a goals. Just like as a user, I want to do this so that your goal can be achieved. It's just you as a user, your wants, and then the thing you're trying to achieve. What you want available, then the goal you're trying to achieve. Let me go back to these slides. Mm, yes, see the format. Can you see it? Can see the format of this is the format of writing user story. As a user, as a blah blah blah, I want to blah 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 so that I can blah blah blah. So that is just the format. As a user, it has to be this simple, no more, no less. If you see yourself writing on that thing, it's not a user story. So it has to be this simple. Yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Then interpretation of that user story at the end of the day. I don't know. As a PM, are you supposed to interpret the user story that you have formulated?
Are you supposed to interpret it? Yes, yes. I think as a PM, that's where acceptance criteria comes from. Because once you look at the user stories, of course you interpret it and say, yes, this is what I want my user to do. This is how the user is supposed to use this app or this feature or this product. Then you now acceptance criteria for it. And then show it to your developers and say, this is what I want you to build. So that's just basically it. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does.
All right, all right. Thank you so much. Any other questions or any other thoughts or whatever? You can just put your hand or something. All right. Again, Calvin have to. Yeah, thank you too much. So I have to count down to from 5 to 1. So if nobody raised their hand or say anything, we'll have to end this class. So end of. Thank you, Ayomide. Thank you so much. Thank you. So yeah, it's for a count of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let go. So yeah, thank you guys so much. Thank you, Precious. Thank you, every one of you. How many of you are in Discord? That's 8 of you in Discord right now. Thank you so much for staying to the end. I appreciate you all so much for tuning in and for paying that. You guys are such wonderful mentees. Again, I think I made a message in the Slack channel last night. If you have any questions, anything that you need me to clear up, just DM me and I'll help you with that. So thank you so much for today and have a good night rest. Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye, Avi. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Expect
Bye.
us in your DM.
I'm expecting.